Good morning, early morning, coming to you at 05 hours and 17 minutes, Thursday, December 6th, 2018. In the calendar year, I want to go over this year, the Supreme Order, the New World Order. The name that was given to me is the Supreme Order this year. There have been about around 8 to 12. At one moment, I didn't lose my focus of my spirituality, but I did have to I was working on different projects, different skills I was setting forth for myself. So spiritually, I was getting these things and I was not writing down. But this year has been 8 to 12 orders that became very purposeful in our lives. Mainly, the orders is to continue the supremacy, the supreme, to be superior over a race, a group, and just to keep us where we at because I have learned spiritually that they have to keep on with the things they're doing for order for the system to work. And the only way, and it was going to keep working because it was placed in design. If I build a machine, as long as I keep the parts oiled, the parts up, like if they need to be played, maintenance, new manufacturer, I can change the parts out. So basically, I can use different people. I can give this different story, but long as I do everything I'm supposed to do, that well-oiled machine's gonna keep working. It has no reason to break. So long as we not allow the system to break, then it's gonna keep working. And one of the things that was given to me is to destroy the system. You basically have to destroy the system. Basically, we would have to start over. And I keep saying this to people, and it was like, so how do you start over? Well, to start over a system is basically take apart the system. You have to go back to the beginning. Now, people say, well, why would I go back to the beginning when I can just start from where I'm at and then as I'm in there? Because what that allowed to do, it allowed the system to keep working. It do not break up. So if the system needed a certain calculation, so if I had parts and each part is intricate, so each part does their part, does their not their part. Well, in that section, so it does their part. It does what's the word I'm looking for? It plays its position. It's in position. What I love to use. That's the truth. It's in its position. Now, if you remove it from its position and add another part, you have to place a part similar to that same part. And this is what we fail to realize. And the thing that baffled me much about people is how the system does that. You're like, well, we're going to change. And then you bring in the same type of person or the same part, and the structure never change. It basically continues, and it might even get stronger in most cases. Sometimes it looked like it's getting weaker, but it's got stronger because what all I had to do, they were bringing a part that seemed less. So next time, so when there's a new election, when there's a new bid or a promotion, guess what? They bring in that same type of person that was there 10 years ago. Just as you learn in the law, and so when you write a bill or human resource code, it don't have to go into play now. I can write a law to have a curfew, and if they pass that, they don't have to pass that bill. All they gotta do is vote on it, and if it win, that don't mean Congress have to choose that bill now. They chooses it later. That's how law. That's why I say law is all, and it connects to our spirituality because what we allow naturally eventually is going to hurt us spiritually. So if we're telling them privacy is not okay, and then we telling them, okay, you can be in our private life, there's cameras everywhere. Eventually, when they pass the law and they can follow you, all I gotta do is just press the button. There's a camera on my phone. How you think I'm recording this, even though it's dark and I don't turn lights on if you haven't noticed that. I take the time as it is. All I gotta do is turn that camera on. Can I do that? Not because electronic device. We can cover it up. just like there's a volume. They can just turn it on. So what we understand that don't just because you change the person, you change the little bit of the sequence of the mechanic. That don't mean it changes anything. All you do is all we're doing is just slowing it down until it happens. And the main orders that happened this year was fashioned for it was trended for the new world order, the supreme order. So the new order for next year can work. And one of the orders was to make sure the people be scared of the law. Because what I have noticed as for one race of people, that we watched them kill us and we done nothing about it. And then when we done something about it, the whole system came against us. This is where it become hard. And this is what I also try to explain to people. We keep sitting up here, but what we're learning, we persevere and we resilient. We always fight through. We keep breaking through. Don't matter what they do to us, don't matter what they say, don't matter how they treat us, don't matter what the world looking at us. Look at it, we're still standing here. But the one thing that they done that they mastered the art of is getting us to come against each other. This year I sang so much. If you look at the intermingler interracial marriages and dating, is always the dark skinned person with the white or other race person. They need to symbolically show the dark skinned person with the fairer person because they learned the lighter person that's of African descent, that's okay. It doesn't bother nobody. That shows a more of a rounded understanding. But the lighter, fairer African descendant person was the first people to be tricked. Now it's the dark skinned people. They tricked them with basically it's called they reversed it. They abused them. Years and years and generation went by. They forgot. Even now they're forgetting that it's happening. And then now what they did, soon as we follow suit. So when we call a dark skinned woman a man, the African descent, a dark skinned man, he called them a man as well. But it's not, but the funny part, it's not a collect, it's a group. And then once that group follow, that dark skinned woman now feel left out. I heard a story with a dark skinned woman, and to me, I say all African descent women is beautiful, but if some are not just attractive, like as I am, I'm not attractive to a lot of my own women. And I'm not going to be, and this is the thing, this is the funny part. Those women were never told they were attractive to their own men. Even if it was their family, they needed a collective group. And this is sad, but it's not sad to me anymore. This is a sad, but this is very a tactic. This was very strategic. Tell her she's not beautiful, don't have no man. She's going to create distress. Her distress for her own race. It's going to hold them in contempt. It's her disdain that no man of her race called her beautiful. So now she's going to get older. Now by the age of 13, she still haven't been called beautiful by a man outside of her family of her same race. Now what she's going to do, because her father wasn't there. See, they removed the father from, and we keep saying this. This was done. That was part of the order in the 80s. In the early, like mid 70s, the order was to remove the father from the house. So they needed an influx of drugs. And this is the part where I hate talking to people because they act as, I mean, this never happened. This was not causes and reason. Because then when we become adults, we always say, I'm going to give my parents the excuse. I'm going to give them the blame because I'm so much better. But in reality, you're not much better than your parents. You're just as your parents because you're a being. You're required to action. So the action for her was to be called beautiful by another man. But once the man that was an Asian man called her beautiful, she responded. But my line goes into, well, if we're going to use the her whole circle, what type of African descended black men, quote unquote, black men was she around growing up? Was she only in her area? Did she leave her home? And this is what is not talked about. And then the comparison to other race of men. I would tell anyone, don't ever do that. Even other same race of people, Africans and the men and women. You cannot compare another race to you. I don't care what they've been through and what you've been through. But you have to think, if we are in a country where we are pitted against each other and we're told we're less than because it's nurtured, feeded, and it's been the iniquity and fostered for years and years, generation after generation. How can you compare another race of man to me at the age of 36 when I go to work compared to when he go to work? When he work at a company, when he wear a nice suit, he's not getting treated as I am. He's getting treated differently. So this is what the system is doing. It's trying to tell us that now who don't care about no one just because it does matter when I look at my mother and if I have a daughter or a son, it shows me what did my mother guide me and challenge me to? What advice, what counsel have she gave me? What things did I go through as a young African descendant man that nobody else been through? And we all have our parts in the world where we all been through things. So when I hear those women compare a man or saying that that's you never thought you were special. The things for me to hate my own race, I would have to build up a disdain for them, which I never did. I had to catch myself because I'm not on social media. Social media don't blind me. And by not being on social media as everybody else, I have my revelations and I have a lot of alone time. I'm not surrounded by a whole bunch of men and women. And people can call it what it is, young men and women. That's okay. But you got to think and know where all these people came from. You wasn't born in the same family. You wasn't born in the same neighborhood. Different demographics, so different parts of the city or the country, each different states, different parents. You're not family members. So you have to think and know my ideas is not their ideas, but I'm okay from understanding and having respect for them. So we have to understand these orders are still going through. And this year it was very heavily. It was based on racial tension. A lot of the orders was racial tension to keep us separated from each other, the men and women, African descendant, native descendant men and women. The order of how the world's going to work in the future been working this. The who's going to have the control over land, as you can see in Africa. Africa since the 17, 16, maybe earlier, it's no longer the land is not entrusted to the people of the land anymore. It's been taken over. It gave up their rights. And you have to think about that. No one owned the land, but you gave up your rights. So no one owned your body, but you gave up your rights. You have to think when you sign these contracts, what is written in these contracts. Every contract I ever signed, that means wherever place I work for, I read. So it's never a time when to say, did you read your contract in that fine print? Remember those letters? Remember those 9 paragraphs? I wrote that in there for you to follow, and you didn't follow them. That's why when people sue, the first thing they say, you don't have a foot to stand on, because all I gotta do is they're gonna get your paperwork and like, did you sign this paper? And you be like, yes. You can't sue. You can't fight against what you're signing your name on that you have not read yet. So there's laws and there's orders out there that we haven't read. They won't allow us to read because now what you have to do, and this year as well, people have been signing their name on dotted lines and have no understanding that under this law and under this order, I have control over you. That's part of the system. So long as we keep working the system, these orders are going to hold true. And to overcome basically the system, you have to fight it. You literally have to have, it's called a mutiny. You have to stand up against. And it's going to evolve a lot of destruction to the system. And then what happens, and this is the only part I hate, I know there don't have to be bloodshed. There's going to be bloodshed because the other side is going to fight. And what we're going to have to do is defend ourselves against them fighting. That's period point blank. Not that we not the fighters are not supposed to cause the fight because we're called fighters. Going on, moving on, forward progress. So to move forward, we're the fighters. I mean, we're defending what they're trying to do against us. That don't mean it's violent. That there's not a physical action. And anyone to me that love physical violence is a person I would have in my corner, but they're not the first person to speak. I wouldn't want them to be the first people to speak because we know it took violence to get here. So war, as in the three evils with racism and poverty, why would we create the same thing to get out of it? We have to start thinking about that. So to break these orders, we need people in position. And I say this: we got all these systems, and we say we want to fight, but we're not able to fight. This is why we're not able to fight. In my family, I have about three teachers. I have zero doctors, zero physicians, one nurse. That's my immediate family that I know of. We had a teacher, but she have got killed. So we had to think. So now, what other businesses can we be in? There's nobody on the student or the city council or assembly. We have no lawyers. But then now, if we think about that, we are the most divided and separated race. Now, let's say I have a associate. They have family members that's lawyers, but guess what? It's not even a guess. We're not together. So we can't even fight against the order to do so because we know there's no lawyers. There's no one telling us, hey, we can't do this. So, and I learned we don't want to be together. I have talked to many brothers that's in the street. I told them, stop hurting your people and just start doing things you're supposed to do. And the things you're going to do, you have the record already. I'm not saying I'm not fighting, but I have the knowledge to understand I don't need to go to prison. You already have a strike. They're going to look at you. And it's saying as you're willing to go to prison already. So, and this sounded funny to them and they laugh. Some people laugh. Some people actually get it. Some of the guys actually got it. But those were the guy that was least likely to want because they needed the more to protect their family because they're more likely at the end of their street life. And I say you're going to prison and jail anyway, and you the one that caused a lot of destruction, even though you was tricked. I understand the whole understanding of this. I'm not calling you specifically saying you are just wrong. You're wrong, and I have done nothing. That lawyer is in a position to help him. So when the police try to use, and this is what they fail to understand. We fail to understand this. The street guys are the street guys. The guys that's going to school are the school. Don't you think we should be helping each other? Nobody never thought about it as this. You're not going to be being put in prison and jail because you did wrong. Now you're done. You paid your time. You did your punishment. You have strikes. You're going to make a move and they're going to say it's unlawful for you to do it. But hold on. If we stand together, and this is, we keep talking about it, and there's no action, this is not an action that's going to come overnight. And this is the thing, and people have to understand this. A lot of men that's African descent don't stand together. That's the prime example. He's going to get locked up, but by me and or other men knowing the law, that guys that passed the bar exam, that are lawyers, that are attorneys, that are paralegals, this is going to happen. He's able to get him out, and he can continue. He don't have to go to jail or in prison. But we're not backing each other, so when we see each other, there's no reason we have to join all these secret elite organizations. I don't have to join those. Those are the same organizations that's coming against me. They're not fighting with me because they are hitting. They're standing together. And if there's a time or place, it will be a now for them to stand up and say, stop hurting African descended people, other race of people. But we don't see that. We will never see that. Even as we intermingle, interracialize, so we're marrying and having children, our mixed children are more likely going to go to the supreme. And we're not getting that. So these orders this year was heavily favored for racial tension. That was like the number one. The other ones was to highlight and to keep under veil the economics. The economics we live in, the stock market, the Dow report is not going to fall. I don't care if it's down 700,000 points. It's not going to fall. Wall Street will not fall because it's protected by the banks. The banks are protected by each other. And that's what we fail to realize again. We keep failing to realize a lot of things is protected by each other. They call it the houses. It's a brotherhood. They are protected by each other. Why would it fall if it's protected? And Trump is president of the United States of America. Trump is just a person. He's expendable. Of course, he got a couple millions of dollars, so he can protect himself. That's what your couple million dollars is for. That's why he worked for his couple million of dollars, so he can protect himself. Not even so much about economics in this case. And he's the president, so it has to look as we protecting him as well. And he's look at the color of his skin. He's part of an organization, just as Obama. And I don't diss Obama. We diss him because that's the first thing we're taught to do is to hate our own people. We hate our own anybody of a color. And I'm learning everybody of color is not of me. It's not as an African descended person. There's white people born in Africa that don't make them African. They just know the dialogue and the language. I am born American, but I am birthed here, but I'm not American. According to the birth certificate, social security number, I'm just a resident. Because if they expunge it, that means erase the numbers. I am a nobody according to them. But I know who the creator created me, so I am a somebody. So we have to start taking account of all these things that's happening, and these orders are working. Think about how your life changes. Think about your thought process. Look at what type of person are you today? Do you love yourself? Do you love your mother? Do you love the people that hate you? And if you can love the people that hate you more than the people that surround you, you better check yourself. The same people that hurt my mother, I know good and well, if she went through a part where they was throwing rocks at her for trying to get into a school with a better education, who you think they birth? And who you think what they're saying to their children? And a lot of us gotta understand, we wasn't taught this. We experienced racism. I experienced racism from a young age to now. I wasn't taught this. And if you call me racist, I will look at you and laugh and be like, so it's okay for people, some of them in groups, to stand together to hurt me verbally and physically. But when I respond from the effects of what they're doing, I am deemed racist now. I remember a young lady asked me, am I racist? The same young lady that disrespected me said, I've seen this before. I know what you about. Within a week of talking to me without even knowing nothing about me, literally. Because she didn't like it's not as she asking me questions. And if she's going to go by her discernment, I was like, your discernment told you that a guy literally being attacked by his own race of women is not for you. That's funny. The one that care about you the most is the one that you run away from. But the one that's willing to only use you, manipulate you, you run towards. What I say one, I say unto all. It's your path, it's your journey, it's your choice. So choose wisely. Let's say be the best you can be. Don't allow and if you go back, look at CNN, watch the news, look at the news, look at all events that occurred this year. Now, you cannot tell me that bettered the economy or the country. It didn't. Nothing. I cannot think of one thing that bettered, but I can think of one thing that did get better. It's me. So as I worked within myself, I got better. I'm not oppressed, but I know there's an oppression. I'm not depressed, but I know there's a depression. I'm not full of anxiety, hurts, and pain, but I know that there's anxiety, hurts, and pains out there. there are people and things I can walk into that I am able to succumb to, but I am no longer, because of my affirmations, my reinforcements and empowerments, is love of myself. I know I'm great. There's nothing that can hurt me anymore. There's nothing that could ever hurt me, but now I know for true facts and the all truth that nothing can hurt me. A gun, okay, the bullet, that's per se, that is going to cause pain, but it can't hurt me. I know what it's designed for. I know what people are using it for. It has one purpose and one purpose only. It's to hurt. But I don't have to allow the things that, once if it penetrate my body and it do hurt me, that's based on the iniquity before me. That's an error. I have nothing to do with that. But I don't have to bring that pain to myself. So there's things I don't have to I can get a gun, but I make sure everything is safe. I live on my own. I don't have children. So my safety is mine. And when I say certain words, I know if people have a different understanding or belief, they're going to take words the wrong way. But I want you all to know you have the power and ability to shape and form your life moving forward now. All the patterns, all the bad habits, all the negativity, you have the power to change. Shalom.